switch spots here with Coach. I'll let him go with the statement. And it looks like you guys started a queue. Jeremy Warner will be up first on questions.
Good morning. Yeah, Wisconsin, on to the next. They just continue to get easier in this league. Really proud of our guys after the Indiana game, a game which I really felt like we weren't extremely sharp. I was very disappointed in our first half defensively because we have been improving there drastically. And second half, we made those changes. We were much better. I'm excited. It was a game that was tough for Iowa. Iowa wasn't his normal self, and yet guys stepped into plays and made plays that were normally plays that he makes. And so I'm excited about that. And we found a way. We did it with our defense. We did it with some great hustle plays, some great rebound plays. And then we executed down the stretch. So Wisconsin, one of the oldest teams in the country, tremendous experience, tremendous knowledge. They know how to win. They obviously were a co-champion last year in this league. They're right there again. They hurt you in a lot of ways offensively. They can post you with their guards. They're big, step out and shoot it with Reavers and Potter. I'm a big fan of the Wall kid. He does so many things. He's really kind of turning into a point forward for them. Their bench, they're getting great production off their bench. Davis the other night comes in and is 4 of 4 from the three in 16 or 17 minutes. Anderson does a great job at the point for him. So like every other game in this league, it'll be a grinded out dogfight. They're great defensively and make you earn everything, and we'll have to be very sharp.
Hey, Brad, I'm just wondering, because we're starting to see reports out, do you have any insight into the Michigan game, whether that's been officially postponed or not?
No, nothing. Right now it's Wisconsin, it's Michigan next Tuesday until somebody else in the league says anything differently. That's the plan. We have heard, I tell you, we have heard nothing to the contrary. Just, we're planning on playing. So until somebody tells us differently, and it's one game at a time, and it's COVID. So a lot of things happen day to day, and it's Wisconsin tomorrow.
And I know this is bigger picture, but we're getting to the point where the Big Ten race is obviously becoming a little clearer. Obviously with COVID, we don't know, probably teams won't play the same amount of games. Have you heard from the Big Ten, or do you have any thoughts on how we should crown a champion given what these games will look like?
Well, I think the one thing that we spent a great deal of time, Jeremy, this summer talking about was that same situation. I don't know what that answer is yet. I think it's we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know what lies ahead for Nebraska. What lies ahead? We've got 2 games left with Nebraska. We've got a game that's been postponed with Michigan State. Where Michigan's obviously fallen 3 or 4 games behind. I don't know what that looks like yet. I know we've got a lot of really smart people in our league office who are constantly generating league schedules and new league schedules. So we'll have to see at the end, Jeremy. I don't have a very good answer to that right now because I don't know anything.
I understand. Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, with 4 starters shooting 39% or better from 3-point range and Wisconsin taking about 40% of its shots from 3, this stacks up to be kind of like the Ohio State game where you're going to have a tough time guarding taller guys at the perimeter. What's your plan?
I'm not telling you that. So you can, put it on the media and let everybody know that. That wouldn't be very smart of me. No, they're a team that there's no secrets with them. They do what they do and they do it very well, and they do shoot it. It's a team that I think they're a little different than Ohio State in the fact that they've got a lot more size in Reavers and Potter. You know, the problem Ohio State tends to give you is that they play, you know, 4 or 5 guys like sizes. But you know, Davidson and Trice are extremely experienced. And, you know, there's no question you've got to take away what is 40% of their offense, and that's the 3-point line. You've got to make it very challenging for them.
And because you've made Georgie available as the player for today, he's going to have a big role in tomorrow's game, as well as Jacob Grandison on the perimeter. Would you talk about that?
Yeah, they've got a guard out there. There's no doubt. And you know, Georgie and Kofi and all those guys are very, very capable of it. Wisconsin does a great job of engaging the bigs in action through ball screens. Everybody talks about swing and this and that. They do a great job in their ball screen stuff. And you've got to guard them. And you don't do a great job guarding ball screens without your guards being tough as hell, fighting, competing to get over the screens, not get screened. And the better job they do, the easier it will make it for our bigs.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, when we spoke with you on Monday, you said, you know, it was nice to kind of get back into maybe a more typical rhythm. I guess, you know, what's kind of the difference where maybe you had, you know, the game last Friday, then Tuesday, then Saturday, as opposed to when you were going 10 days, you know, in between games?
Well, Scott, we're a little more on the fly. You know, you've always got to leave a little bit of room for, you know, we went into that break not knowing if we were going to have a game. And so you're a little more unpredictable, unsettled, you know, and here's why it's a little bit funny is, you know, when things were normal, we would turn in a semester's worth of our practice days and our off days. And we had to do that per NCAA rule. And we had to have that all a semester in advance, know what our off day was. You know, you have to give 24 hours notice if something changes. All that is just ripped up and out the window. So the unpredictability, the unknown, those are all things that we have to take into account for. You know, when you get into a nice routine, you know what your schedule is and you can plan accordingly and know how to rest guys, know how to take days off, know how to plan and prepare. So, you know, there's the advantage of having some familiarity to what we do.
So who likes maybe the set routine better, coaches or players?
Both. And I think the players like to know that, hey, they're going to get a day off on Sunday and they're going to get a day off after this game and they get their 2 days prep. So they mentally get into a nice routine. And that's the same with coaches. And, you know, right now it's not that. I think you look at the week Penn State had, you look at the week Iowa has, you know, you've got 1 day preps. We're all probably going to experience something similar to that down the stretch here. And again, routine is comforting for all of us.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Adam. Seemed to be in quite a bit of pain with his hand on the bench there late in Indiana. Any update on his status?
Yeah, they said it was like if you took a hammer and hit your finger, you know, like your fingernail, that would be what happened to him. He had his deal on the ground and I guess a knee landed on his finger and it's back to normal. It's fine. There was a little bit of swelling after the game, but he'll be good.
With the way, I know you've been selective with using Georgie and Kofi together. You talked about Wisconsin with their size. What have you liked about what you've seen when Georgie and Kofi have played together? And is there any difference what that brings to the table versus last year?
Well, we get better defensively. And that's one of the things I really like about it. I mean, you know, Georgie gives us, Georgie's an unbelievable off-ball defender. And he does a really good job of keeping the ball out of the post with his denials, his fronts, his 3/4, because he's got great feet and he gets around people. So it gives us a different look. And then he's a guy that, again, is always in the right spot. Georgie's very seldom in the in the wrong position. So you put a 6'9", 6'10" guy out there in the right position and covers space. I like that a lot. Then there are some challenges at the other end, but we're starting to figure those out pretty well as well.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, after the Indiana game, I asked you about Georgie's energy. Is there any like pre-game routine or ritual or anything that you see that he does to kind of get his energy up? He's always seems to be in a good mood with us, but anything that you've seen that he does?
If we all had Georgie's approach to life, this would be a pretty good world we'd be living in, because he always finds a way to be jovial and happy and excited and appreciative and every positive adjective you can think of. The other, very seldom do you see Georgie down, or Georgie not in good spirits. It's just his personality. So I don't think there's a preset routine. He finds a way to get excited, get the butterflies going, and that gets his emotions going.
I know you are really appreciative of his personality, but when you think back to when you first met him, did you kind of take anything away from his personality that stuck with you or anything like that?
Well, I loved his energy on the court the first time I saw him play. That's what drew me to him. I mean, he was, like I said, we're in the building recruiting another kid. And, his energy, his talk, and when you pair that with the fact he was saying the right things, he just wasn't spewing a bunch of idle verbiage out there. He was actually saying the right things that meant something, that stuff's invaluable. That's one of those things those stars that everybody puts by their name, nobody takes those things into account. Those are things that are real issues for coaches, and we love. So, I've been drawn to Georgie since the first 3 minutes of the game I watched him.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
One more quick one on Georgie, Coach. I know it's not everything as a stat, but Georgie was plus 23 in about 16 minutes against Indiana. What could we read into that, if anything?
That's really good. I mean, we pay a lot of attention to those numbers. We do not. I don't get overly excited about one game plus minuses. If you went back this year, you could probably find one the other way with G. And that's with every player, not just him. But we try to get at least 5-game scenarios, 7-game scenarios, and look at them, their plus minus overall. And then we take that and we pair that with the lineups that are in and why were they successful. And we start looking at those lineups and then playing it out from there. Maybe this is our best defensive lineup. Maybe this works and why against this opponent. So, there's quite a bit of analysis that goes into it. But that's a huge number in those minutes in a game that was an overtime game.
Cool. Thank you.
Brad, I wanted to.
Oops, sorry, Joey. I forgot you were ahead of me.
I wanted to follow up on the Kofi Georgie pairing together, and when we've seen it, is there something you guys had to do as a coaching staff to make it work a little better on the floor? Or is it just a matter of those two spending more than a calendar year together and kind of understanding each other's games?
It's probably a combination of both, Joey. I think one of the things that has helped us is has helped that lineup is actually playing smaller at times, because it's created a concept for other teams to have to guard us. And when you've got DeMonte shooting 60% and you've got Jacob as a legit threat, teams that space has helped Kofi. It's also helped us and helped Georgie, especially in terms of understanding what it takes at that spot. And it gives us a different look, and it gives us a different read. We're so good at the other. I think we're 6th or 7th in OER nationally. That when we go to Georgie, it's helped us. So it's a combination of both. They interact great together. But actually playing smaller has probably helped the big lineup as much as anything.
And then I just wanted to touch base quickly. We haven't seen Coleman Hawkins in the last two. Is that matchup based, or is there an injury or anything going on with him?
No injury, just Coleman's doing fine. And I would expect him to play tomorrow. It's been a little more, the game the other night was really, really choppy. So there were a lot, of course, when you got 5 scores table issues, and you get long pauses and going to the table for this, you don't have to rest guys as much. And then, being an ESPN network game, you've got really, really long timeouts. So you don't have to get as deep into your bench sometimes, but he's been doing great, and we'll need him tomorrow. We'll need his size and his defense.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad. Obviously, going to Indiana, you guys knew it was probably going to be a slower paced game. But if I would have told you a couple months ago that you guys were going to shoot 36 or 38% and go to OT there, would you think that your team would have won, and why?
I would, just because I know that's what we talk about all the time. I never count on offense. I never expect to score this or to shoot this. I hope we do, but the only thing I know I can control is our effort, and then being as dialed in as we can to a scouting report, and that starts on the defensive end, and it's all we talk about. It's winning on the road when the ball doesn't go in. How are we going to do that? And the only way we're going to do that is with defense and grit and toughness, and that's why I'm really, really proud of that win, because I think we didn't play very well in terms of especially the first half, but we were gritty and we were tough, and we made the plays at both ends when we needed to.
And then, obviously this team is shooting a little better than last season's team as well, but I'm not sure, looking at you guys, what has changed. Do you think you guys are creating better shots, or do you think it's more of players taking some steps in their own personal games?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, I can show you the growth in everybody's game. I mean, it's a tribute to our players. It's a tribute to our coaches and the job that they do helping guys get better. I mean, everybody's numbers are up and improved. That just doesn't happen by, sitting on your couch playing, 2K or whatever. You get your butt in the gym and work, and that's what that's our whole program. Our program's development. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. Their body weights are where they should be. Their games are better. So that's what we do here. We take a lot of pride in getting guys better.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, I wanted to ask you a little bit. I know you talked a lot about the 7:30 a.m. COVID update. How exactly do you get word? And like I've had myself have had a COVID test, my wife, my daughters. I mean, the anxiety I feel when the results are out there is crazy. How do you handle it every day, waiting for that 7:30 a.m.? Maybe you're giving me a tip, but how do you do it?
Yeah, prayer. I mean, it's hard. It is the most uneasy time of my day. And I keep, I every time my phone rings and I don't have the results, I'm literally praying it's not our trainer. It's not Paul Schmidt. Please do not be Paul. And it is, because you're not just responsible for yourself. There's 30 people in our tier 1 group, and any of those people could trigger it. And, it's Jim, when you've got coaches with young kids who go to school, or you've got wives who work and they come home, and it's all the other people that they connect with. And I keep stressing to them as much as our players, it's our circle. If they're not dealing in everyday testing, don't talk to them, and don't hang out with them. And, I've got a daughter in a sorority. I don't let her come home, and she's got to be masked. If she does, she's got to be masked up, and I'm not around her. And it's just, so she stays away most of the time. So that's the challenge of basketball during COVID.
What exactly happens at 7:30? Do you get a text? Do you get a?
Well, we go in, we do a saliva test, which is our university PCR, and then we do the antigen, which is the nasal swab, which is the Big Ten test. Within 15 to 20 minutes, usually 15, we have a group of 8 nurses that are here, 7 or 8. They're handling them all. They're running the test. We get a little card back that has a green on it if you're good, and then we can leave. Then later in the day, usually around noon, 1 o'clock, we get the results from the PCR through an email and through the app that is the university app, the Safer Illinois app. So we get that, we all look at it, we fill out a survey every morning before we come in, what buildings we're going to be in, do we have symptoms? And that gets ran through the university medical people. So it's a everyday process. First thing I do every morning when I get up is fill out my app and my survey.
Thank you.
I think it's me. Yeah, I wanted to follow up with what Jeremy had asked you. And I know, when you guys had a cancellation before and a long gap, you were actively looking for games. I know it's up in the air about Michigan, but would you guys have like contingency or work on contingency plans for that? Or do you wait and just, hope for the Big Ten to arrange something if this scenario plays out?
Yeah, it's really hard, Shannon, to do contingency because we could set something and then the Big Ten might flip it and say, okay, we're going to move a game here. And that impacts if we did a non-league game. I'm pretty much to the point now where I won't do a non-league game. We're too close to the end to risk anybody else's testing protocols other than our own. And so more than likely I would, and I should never say never, but more than likely I would not. And most people don't want to play, to be honest, at this time of year. But I can't risk our players, student athletes, players, coaches getting it right now if it would come from a non-league opponent that's not in our testing.
And then I also wanted to ask you, I know this is coming up, a home game, but I remember talking to you and you mentioning during the non-conference portion, just some of the things you were thinking about with travel, during the pandemic and playing. And I'm just wondering, what has been the hardest part about traveling right now? Maybe even with building team chemistry or just logistics of getting things done. Can you kind of take me through a little bit of the challenges or what you figured out through this?
Yeah, I think the one thing everybody in our league, for the most part, is eliminated night before shoot-arounds. We've had to figure out, Saturday's a 1:30 test. So we have to take the Big Ten antigen test within 16 hours of tip. So, if it's, Rutgers, we had to get up at 5 in the morning or 5 for a 6 a.m. test because we had to drive to their testing facility. Those things are completely new and different, that part of it. But I think we've cut back on the amount of time. We've been very, very restrictive in hotels as to guys not leaving rooms other than our meeting room. No interaction with anybody else. We talked a lot about that. That piece has been very different. But it's it's hard. Our director of operations, Joey Biggs, has done yeoman's work because everything does change and happen pretty quickly with all the delays, and it'll be a madhouse. But if we could leave the day of the game, there would be some of those days we would probably do that and may have to do that as we head into what I think will be a very busy end of the month.
What about just that team? I mean, a lot of guys, they remember like the team meals and going on to a restaurant out on the road, and that builds some, camaraderie. What's lacking there with this?
Yeah, a lot. And, we've spent a lot of time talking about, as we head into postseason and the Big Ten tournament, making sure we take gaming systems. There's nothing worse than sitting in a hotel room. I can't do it. I hate it. And you've got a 9 o'clock game Eastern time. That's a long day. But taking gaming systems, putting them in our meeting room so guys can interact and hang out, or, taking workout equipment, because we don't go to workout rooms. Fletch would always work guys out that maybe weren't playing a lot. That stuff, we don't go to workout rooms. So, all this stuff may have to go to the Big Ten tournament and postseason tournament, may have to travel with us and try to do those things, because it does get really challenging to create those interactions. I've noticed our guys sit in the pregame meals a lot, and our meals a lot longer now than they do in the past. They used to kind of, get up and eat and do their deal. Now they all kind of hanging around because they want that interaction.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, Brad, circling back to Wisconsin, what kind of problems does Micah Potter give you guys as an opposing player?
Good athlete, length, and a really good perimeter shooter. And, here's a guy that stretches the floor, and he can score on the block. And so he's not just a one-hit wonder. He's a guy that has tremendous skills, and he's got a little bounce to him. And he presents himself quite nicely at the rim defensively. So he's a handful.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, that's it for Coach.
I just had a
Coach,
quick one.
okay, all right, this has got to be the last one. He's got
Right.
something 11:30.
Are you making sure your team is off on Sunday at about 5 o'clock or so?
They may not be off, but I will be. No, we'll again, this is where we kind of get in the uneasiness of, I'll be watching the Chiefs, but we'll have something figured out one way or another. But it's kind of the uneasiness of not knowing now what our day off will be, depending on what transpires here in the next 3 or 4 days next couple days with possible games.
Sure. Well, I got no horse in the race, so go Chiefs on your behalf.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, Coach, leave that running. I'm going to bring Georgie in. He's ready.
Yep.
Thank you.
Morning, Georgie. You look cheerful as usual.
I don't know
Okay,
who it was, but because I couldn't see. But good morning. It was okay. Good morning. Good morning. Great day to have a great day. Let's go.
Yeah. You're going to have a big role against Wisconsin with all of their very mobile 3-point shooting big men. Would you talk about that?
What was the exact question?
Wisconsin has big guys that can shoot from deep. And so, that was a problem against Ohio State. The Illini are going to need you on the perimeter defense and your dancing feet. Would you talk about that?
Oh, I mean, that's I don't know. We'll see if they come out and they do great. We'll obviously adjust, and whatever it will be, we will guard them. We play defense, take away threes. We always try to force tough twos. So yeah, we're ready. I am ready. The team is ready. Everybody's ready. We are all in. We are locked in. Let's go.
All right. Well, that sounds good. I guess I have no further questions.
Georgie, your energy is just something that's really special. I mean, just sitting down here and saying it's a great day to have a great day. You're doing all these different things. You're in a great mood. how do you do that? Like, do you ever just like wake up on the wrong side of the bed and not be in a good mood, or is this you on a daily basis?
I won't lie to you. I do have bad days, just like I think everybody does. There's not a perfect, human who always got a great mood. But I always, when I wake up, I have like a whiteboard in the room, and I have some written in Georgian there. I would not tell you guys what it is, and it always makes me smile when I wake up. And I wake up, I read it, I smile, and then I'm like, hey, let's try to have a great day with a smile, and then I walk outside and I put a smile on people's faces, and it's just great, great energy. Because why wouldn't you be smiling or be happy? Obviously, we have some issues and problems that come up in our lives, and then, we are not as happy or not smiling. But if everything is going well and people are healthy, why not to smile? Why not to have good energy? Why not? Just ask yourself that,
And then quick follow-up, you talked about putting the smile on other people's faces when you're walking down the street to oven or class or wherever you're going. How happy does it make you to see other people smile because of you?
Very happy, even happier. I was just walking down, when was it? Yesterday before practice, and I was just walking down. It was empty road, and I was not smiling. I was just walking down, and I saw this guy, one guy, he was cutting the grass in front of the football facility. Not cutting the grass, but cleaning the snow. Cutting the grass is not right now, that's later. He was cleaning the snow. And as soon as he saw me, he had a big smile on his face. And then I just smiled right back at him. And it was just a great moment, a very little moment throughout the day, but it was so big for me. I smiled and I instantly had great energy. And then like those little things really matter, I think.
Thanks a lot, Georgie. I appreciate it.
Sir.
Hey, Georgie, good to see you. Obviously, the Indiana game, there was a lot of fouls. It was a physical game, but I'd like to ask you about your work on the defensive end and what kind of work you've been putting in, because on the Iowa game especially, looked like you were really able to give Garza some problems defensively.
Just staying dialed in and really listen to the coaches, because coaches always prepare us with a different plan on defense. Obviously, each team is somewhat different, and our coaches try to teach us techniques, how to defend certain players or the team in general. And we practice it. We get prepared, and not just me, it's the whole team. We all get in there. We have different drills, many different drills that prepare us for the game defensively, especially because we always have great focus on defensive end, because you win with defense, as we all know. And it's just preparation, coaches helping us, talking to us the whole time. Also players helping each other. Kofi might tell me something here. Hey, G, you missed it here. Step up here higher, do this, or me or Jermaine or whoever it is, players helping each other. And it's all collective effort from everybody,
Yeah, absolutely. And then I wanted to ask you about Jacob Grandison and how he's really come into this team and really established a role. It's kind of hard to get to know guys this year with COVID and everything. So what has he meant for this team, and what is he like as a person?
Oh, we love him. He's a great guy. Everybody loves him on the entire team. We all love him. He's a great guy, high character guy, first of all. We really connected with him off the court really well, everybody. And when you connected with the guys off the court, Jake is one of them. We are all connected, obviously. That's really easy to play on the court. Jake is a really fun guy, cracks jokes, obviously. He's very smart guy. Me and him, we always have conversations about many different things outside of basketball. He loves nature too, and he's just very smart. You can talk to him about various topics, and I always talk to him, have fun with him, crack jokes, have serious conversations. Just a high character, great guy.
Thanks, Georgie.
Hey, good afternoon, Georgie. We've seen you and Kofi have played pretty well together at the same time on the court, seeing it a little more now. What do you think is working with that combination, and why are you guys having some of the success you are?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I'm just out there. I honestly don't know. I'm just out there, playing I always, when I'm on the court or whatever, I always try to do my best.
do my best. That's always give all out effort. Our coach is always talking about the thrill of all out effort. When you get that thrill, when there's an all out effort from you, you get that thrill, that feeling. And that's always what I'm personally trying to focus on. And then things just happen. For example, think like playing with Kofi alongside with them, and it worked out, that all my focus is just to give all out effort. That's all it is. And then sometimes it works. As you said, we played well together on the court, and sometimes it might not work. I don't know. But as long as I know personally that I'm giving it all out, I'm happy. And that's basically all you can do, as a player, as a person. I think Coach maybe talked about, sometimes there's a smaller lineup out there. And then when you put the two big guys together, the defense, maybe takes a little bit to adjust to what you guys are able to do. Do you notice anything like that? Not really. No. All right, Georgie. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Georgie. We talked with Coach earlier in the week. He said that it was nice to maybe kind of get back into a normal rhythm where you guys played Iowa last Friday, then play Tuesday, Indiana play again tomorrow. How has that been different than that 10-day gap where you didn't have any games?
That is very different, actually. As you're in the season now, especially it's my third season, you kind of get that flow into a season, how things go. And all of a sudden you have a 10-day break, which you're not used to. Obviously, freshmen is their first season, but for veteran players like me, we are kind of used to just having, day off, couple of practices a game, day off, couple of practices a game. And that gap was definitely something new, but I think we handled it really well. We had very, very good practices, stayed in a great shape, cleaned things up on our side, worked on ourselves. Not that, you're always preparing for somebody. For example, now we preparing Wisconsin, or we was preparing for Iowa or Penn State. During that break, we just worked on ourselves, watched a lot of film on us, and cleaned up little details. And I think that worked in our favor.
Has there been any difficulty or challenges just with this season where your practice schedule, has changed, kind of, or could change, just on a daily basis almost?
I think since summer already, not only me, but I think everybody, all the players and the coaches have kind of a day-to-day approach to everything, just because how things have been, even practices. And it's not really, okay, we're going to have a schedule for a whole week. We have a schedule for today, and we're going to execute that schedule. And then there's a schedule for tomorrow, because every day could bring something, all of a sudden guys could get test positive, knock on wood, that we didn't have. But something popped up on my computer, not my computer, DB's computer. I have to click this away. I can't see you guys. DB, I'm sorry.
That we can still hear you fine, G. Keep talking. I'll come in there and fix it.
There you go. I just click later. But I forgot the question. So that's great. And we just going to come out and play hard. You can ask me the question again. I forgot it because it was all gone on my screen. So
maybe just the challenges of having to go day to day instead of not having kind of a set schedule.
Well, after some time, you just get used to it, I think. Personally, I got used to it really well. Now, just day to day. Okay, today we have practice already. We got it out. We have film later, dinner. That's all we have. That's it. Tomorrow, obviously, we have a game day schedule, but then after that, you don't really know what could happen. Everything could flip and change in a matter of a day. So it just that kind of adjustment. I think that's not only us. I think that's everybody like that right now. Not even just in basketball, just in general. It's more of a day-to-day life now. I feel like maybe not, but that's my opinion.
Okay, thanks, Georgie.
Thank you.
Georgie, looking back at these last few wins, very different game against Iowa, for example, versus the kind of game it was at Indiana. Do you take any more pride in a certain kind of game and a win? I would argue that the Indiana game, you had a lot more adversity with the flow of the game and the fouls and all that.
It's very unique. It's very unique, as you mentioned. I mean, each game is very different. But I mean, some games it's natural just to be a little more happier because it might have been a tougher game. But at the end of the day, you are always happy to get the win, and because we are in the best conference, it's Big Ten. You can lose any game. There is not a team that's coming in and okay, we're gonna win this game. No, like you have to be prepared for every game. Every game could go either way. Every single game in Big Ten. So obviously you could be a little more happier because of the game went a little bit harder this one time, and you're maybe a little more happier because it could be a blowout and you kind of more relaxed stage and still happy. But in Big Ten, every single game could go either way. So when you come up with a win, you're always very, very happy.
Wisconsin typically tries to slow a game down. Is it harder to increase against a slower team, or is it harder for a team that wants to slow down a fast team, if that makes sense?
I don't think that makes sense.
Is it harder to speed up a slow team, or is it harder for a slow team to slow down a fast team, is my question.
I think it's very situation based, like not situation, but like the game based, how the game go. For example, refs could be calling a bunch of fouls one game, and it could work in the favor of a team that likes to play slow. For a team that likes to play fast like us, we don't want any fouls. We don't want any fouls. We just want to have one shot, no offensive rebounds from the opposing team, just one shot and get on and run. That's all we want to get on and run. And sometimes, it could work in our favor that, refs might not call some fouls here and there and give us a little more freedom. It just very one game specifically, like it could be Wisconsin. They want to play slow, but it could happen that we just playing fast. We're just playing fast, and it just happens. There's so many aspects. There's the referees, how guys show up, and then. So I couldn't really tell what's the advantage, disadvantage here. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but
makes sense to me. Thanks.
Yeah. Derek is here. Okay. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Georgie. After you and Io fouled out, you were sitting next to each other on that padded table on the baseline. I know that's not where you guys would have wanted to be, but what was that like sitting there and going through those tense moments of that game and seeing your team be able to come out with a win?
No, I mean, it sucks. You definitely want to be in a game. I mean, we know Io. He loves those clutch moments, especially those, when it goes point to point and he comes out and hits a great shot. He loves those moments. Obviously, I want to be in the game as well. But we knew we had 5 fouls. We had to sit there and we were just, encourage guys. Also trying to call, okay, we were like, okay, he gonna make these 2 or he not. And we was just still talking, being really engaged and just have fun still, and have a good energy for our guys and not just, oh my God, we fouled out and now we dwell on the bench and, we just go into ourselves, but just be there still encouraging guys, having a good attitude, and we came out with a win.
Have you noticed an emotional boost since that game? You had quite a few reasons why you could have lost it, but just to be able to come out with the win and here in practice here recently?
Definitely, because it was very close, and I think the team and all the players there were very happy that we won it with our defense. When overtime started and we took 2 charges, there was an unbelievable energy from the whole entire team just because of those 2 plays. And I think when those 2 plays happened, our team really knew, okay, we're gonna win this game. When first of all, Jake took a charge there, and then Ace took a charge, big charge there. Once they took those 2 charges, we're like, okay, we winning this game. There's no question about it. So the team was really, really happy, still is, and we are in a great connected flow. Everybody's connected. We all in. So we are just excited to play, man.
And one more for you. What's a bus ride like after that game? What are you doing on the bus?
Bus ride. I mean, first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I always notice this. It's very loud, a lot of joking, a lot of rah-rah-rah.
on the bus. And after 10, 15 minutes, everybody is like this on the bus. So they just lean back. Some guys are snoring. Some guys have their mouth open. Some guys are laying down on the floor. And it's not a good sight, I would say. So if you're trying to get through anywhere, you're not going through anywhere. So it's when you take your place, you might as well stay there. So.
Appreciate it, Georgie.
Sir.
All right. Hi, Georgie.
Hey, Shane.
I was curious, it's not really a question about that pertains to tomorrow's game, but just overall with travel this season is a lot different than other years, just logistically and maybe how you feel. I'm just curious, what the most challenging part of traveling has been this year, besides teammates snoring on the bus, I guess.
Challenging part is just, that this COVID thing is happening. And especially we know that it spreads through, traveling, going to different places. So just being very, very careful, always make sure not only you have a mask on, but also having your teammates accountable. Okay, if you see somebody, they don't have a mask on or they don't use hand sanitizer or something, always tell them, hey, put your mask on either in the hotel or on the bus or wherever it might be. Just having that focus at all times that not only you are not trying to catch COVID, but none of your teammates or our whole crew just staying COVID free, because we are playing for something very big, and we're not trying to catch COVID and sit out now for how long it might be.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like when teams go on the road, that's when a lot of team bonding takes place, whether it's, going out to eat together or just guys getting together late night, and you're not doing that this year. How do you kind of try to overcome that or find ways to get around that?
That is right that teams, bond when they go on the road. But what has happened this year is, I was talking about yesterday in an interview, because everything is shut down right now and we are not really seeing anybody else and socializing with somebody else, we are together all the time. So when we are done here in practice today, for example, guys probably gonna go together, play some video games against each other or play some card games against each other. So all this bonding is taking place now here. When, if there was no COVID, people would go out and socialize with different students and whatever. Now it's just us the whole time. So we don't really need traveling right now to be really bonded and stuff like that. We just bond here where we live,
And what do you take with you on your coach mentioned take video game consoles. You just mentioned cards. I don't know if there's a certain card game you guys play, but what are some things you do to occupy your time in hotel rooms?
I'll sleep, honestly. I go to sleep. I'm not a big, video game guy, but almost all the guys on the team, they usually take one or two PlayStation consoles or Xbox or whatever it is and play different games up there. There's basketball games and war games and stuff like that. They compete against each other. They play with each other, stuff like that. I don't play any video games. I can't play or I can't watch. It hurts my head. But also card games, they play some blackjack or poker, stuff like that. And also just be together. We might watch a game together. There's some NBA games going on or something, and just be really together. Nobody really wants to be alone. Just be together, spend great time with each other. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, that'll wrap us up with Georgie. Georgie, thanks for your time. That'll complete the call. Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Georgie. Appreciate it.
Georgie.